South Korean lawmakers have voted to impeach their acting president, Han Duck-soo. He's the second president to be impeached in just 2 weeks. The opposition accused Han of obstructing due process after his predecessor, Yoon Suk Yeol, was impeached before Christmas for briefly declaring martial law. Both former presidents will now face a ruling by the Constitutional Court, which will decide if the impeachments can be upheld.
Chants of protest in South Korea's National Assembly as lawmakers vote to impeach the country's acting president. This is Han Duck-soo. He was elevated to the top job just 2 weeks ago. Opposition figures accuse Han of being complicit in the fleeting imposition of martial law earlier this month. They also say he's blocking the appointment of additional Supreme Court judges. Speaking shortly before his impeachment, Han denied the charge and said he doesn't have the power to appoint them as an interim leader. Across town, the Constitutional Court that will decide the fate of the other suspended president, Yoon Suk Yeol, met for the first time. This is Yoon, who was impeached before Christmas after declaring martial law in early December. 6 judges currently sit on the Supreme Court, all of whom would have to agree to hold up Yoon's impeachment. That's why opposition figures are pushing for 3 more judges to be urgently appointed, giving them a greater chance of seeing Yoon permanently removed from office as South Korea's president.
We are now joined by Fabian Kretschmer. He's a journalist who's based in Seoul but is currently in Berlin with us. It's good to have you in the studio now. So I would like to hear both sides of the story. We had former President Yoon, who was widely criticized in South Korea for declaring martial law, and he was impeached for that. Now Parliament has impeached his, basically the interim president who came after him. Is that also popular in South Korea?
I would say not as popular as the impeachment of Yoon. I mean, of course, you have the left-wing supporters among South Koreans. They want whatever it takes to get Yoon Suk Yeol out of power. They want new elections. They want a new president from the opposition. And there's also a broad majority of South Koreans who basically want this power vacuum, this crisis of state solved. They want a new government who solves the problems of the people. And I think for that, this second impeachment does not help much, because it really ruins the reputation of South Korea, especially internationally, and it also does not help in getting political stability.
And South Korea's finance minister, Choi Sang-mok, he's the one that's going to be taking over now. He has promised to overcome political turmoil, but he's also said that he's going to order the military to step up vigilance. What's behind that?
Well, I think now the most essential problems are, or essential concerns are, that there's a power vacuum that could be abused, exploited by North Korea, for example. I think the security of the state is really the utmost priority right now. But when I listen to Choi Sang-mok's words, I feel like I have a déjà vu, because the previous interim president, Han Duck-soo, basically said the same. He promised stability and promised to overcome this crisis, but here we are, so everything happens again.
And what does this ongoing crisis mean for South Korea's economic stability, its political stability? Is it still able to function as a country at this point?
Well, it does function as a country, and, you know, everyday life in Seoul is going on as usual. But behind the surface, I think people are worried. And you have, for example, the economic aspect, that business sentiment is going down. The currency is also tanking. I mean, the South Korean won is at its lowest position in the last 15 years. And politically, I think it's also quite concerning. When I talk to diplomats in Seoul, they also try to reach out to the foreign ministry. They also don't really know what's going on. So I would say the achievements that South Korea has actually mastered in the last decades, they are really now at stake, because the reputation of the country has suffered.
And what is coming next here? I think a lot of people around the world, as well as in South Korea, are wondering what's finally going to put an end to all of this uncertainty in South Korea.
Well, I think the most important thing to watch out for is the verdict of the Constitutional Court. They will decide whether President Yoon Suk Yeol's impeachment will be finalized or whether he will get back to office. And I think that will decide the political future of South Korea. I mean, it's difficult to predict, but just to give you the basic situation, there are 6 judges right now at the Constitutional Court, and all 6 have to support the impeachment. If there's one veto, then President Yoon Suk Yeol would be technically back to his office.
Okay, journalist Fabian Kretschmer, thanks for your insights.